welcome to my channel. I'm really excited to be starting with the booktube community, and for the first video I want to talk about the 10 books that helped get me through high school / middle school, focusing on high school. I love reading, and what I love about it the most is how different the genres can be and how you can love so many different things but still, you know, be classified like as a book reader, somebody who just loves to consume different types of books. And so I really wanted to share the books that I love to this day, fandoms that I still am a part of. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first book that I wanted to get started with was the Princess Diaries series by Meg Cabot. I love these books. They are written diary style, which is a way that I usually don't like, but they do it wonderfully. So the story follows Princess Mia as she kind of learns, one, that she's a princess, two, that she is going through high school and she deals with a lot of stuff, and she's a fantastically flawed character who's really quirky, and she's so much fun to read, mostly because I find so many similarities in her, and her romance is one of my favorite ones, which is a ship that I still carry to this day. I also love the movies, but I do feel like they're separate. I feel like the Princess Diaries movies is a great movie about a princess who finds out she's a princess. I don't feel like they're a wonderful adaptation of these books, and that is totally fine. They're separate to me, and I love them in different ways. I'll always love that movies. But these books are what really got me into reading, binge reading, and they're so much fun. There's a lot of books in the series. She recently came out with the last book a year or so ago, maybe 2 years, and that followed Mia's journey. And that book was actually an adult book, so it was really great. So I got to follow her entire life, and it followed a similar way that mine did. So it was really fun to just kind of see her grow up as I grew up. So that was definitely one of my favorite books ever to read. The second book that I loved in high school was The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I love these books as well. I saw the movie, I think, first before I picked up Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants books. Similar to the Princess Diaries, the movies I feel are a closer adaptation to the books, but the books are obviously, there's so many of the books. They cover a lot of ground, and they cover a lot of different issues, and there's no way to pack all of that into a movie. So these definitely, they're amazing. They follow the best friends, Carmen, Tibby, Lena, and Bridget, and they find a pair of pants that fit all of them, and they wear them on their different journeys through each summer. Summer is really the only time that they've ever spent apart, and I love all of their journeys. They go through a lot of different things. I think the best part about the style, the way these are written, because you have different points of view, obviously, from the different girls, is that if one is a little boring for you at that time, the other one's going to get you really excited about it. So there's always something exciting about reading these books for those reasons. That is a lot of fun and keeps you really interested in reading the books. So I love these. I can't recommend them enough. They're really good. And the next book series that I'm going to mention is one that I feel like is in almost every single person's recommendations or what they read in high school. If this book series came out when you were in middle school and high school, it's probably when you read it, and you probably fell in love with it, or at least read it around the same time as I did. So I can't make any kind of what I read in high school without mentioning Twilight. Twilight was a huge part of my life, still is, still Team Edward, probably will be until I die. I love this book. I love Stephenie Meyer's writing. I feel like Twilight was a really great way to kind of grow me up as far as what I read and what I enjoyed reading. It follows the protagonist, Bella Swan. She falls in love with a vampire named Edward, and everything kind of goes from there. And yeah, they're really good. I don't like to talk about the movie franchise. It is what it is, and in similar ways, I love them. The next book series that I read in high school was the Anne of Green Gables series by L.M. Montgomery. These books are great. They are, I feel, a little mature, not as far as the plot and the themes, but just as far as like the writing and the way that it was written, I tried to read it when I was a little bit younger, but I didn't quite get through it, so it might have also just been me. But I love Anne from Anne of Green Gables. I have seen the Canadian adaptation, which is my favorite adaptation from any book that I have ever seen. I love it. And these books follow the protagonist Anne, and she is orphaned, and she goes to live with Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert in Prince Edward Island, and she just gets into all sort of wonderful little situations that she does, because she's extremely dramatic, which is probably why I love her, because I'm very dramatic. So I want everyone to read this book. I want everyone to see this movie, the Canadian adaptation, because it's so good and adorable, and it's what everyone needs in this world, I believe. The next, the Harry Potter series. You can't make books that you've loved, I feel, without mentioning Harry Potter one way or another. Even saying that you don't love it, you still have to mention that Harry Potter was a thing, because it is a thing. I started this book series by reading I think I read Prisoner of Azkaban first. I am one of those people where I can actually read things out of order. I know some people don't like to do that, or some people just find it irritating. I personally, I checked most of the books that I read, I checked out from the library. So I would just find whatever books in a series I could read, and I would start the series, and that's how I would get into it. Sometimes that would bite me. Sometimes that would be the best thing I ever did, because maybe the book before it wasn't as good, and I actually got a chance to read the full series and go back to it and be like, okay, well, that was fine, because I started out of order. So I started with The Prisoner of Azkaban, which is my favorite Harry Potter book, and loved the world. I had seen the movies first. The movies are what got me into the books, but I started reading the books right before the 7th book came out. And the 7th book was, so I might have been in middle school, but the 7th book is the main reason why I was rushing to finish through all of them. And Harry Potter, it's a fantastic world. It's kind of everything. I feel Harry Potter is very well thought out, which is why it's a really good book and a really good book series to start reading, because of how well thought out J.K. Rowling thinks about her characters and how she makes you feel about her characters. So I would recommend anybody of any age to read Harry Potter. I believe they're that good. The next book series that I would recommend anyone to read, and the book series that got me through high school, was the House of Night series, which these books I feel are a little controversial, because some people either really enjoy them or really can't stand them, without saying any spoilers, because of book number 3. That's all I gotta say. So the House of Night series follows Zoe as she starts going to the school, the House of Night school, and she learns about being a vampire. And I really love these books because I just feel like they're very fun to read. In high school, I feel that is mostly what I wanted. I wanted books that I just loved to read, that were just really entertaining for one reason or another. Similar to the Vampire Academy series. I love that series too. But these books were just so great. They were written in a way that was very easy to get through. They weren't very big, so I could finish them very quickly. And Zoe's character, up until that 3rd book, she really had me. I did read after the 3rd book, but it just, you know, everyone knows what that book does. So I would still recommend this book series. It's a lot of fun especially if you're new to reading and you love like YA and you love paranormal. This book's just fun to read. And then the next book series, I actually don't own the 1st book, but it's the Blue Blood series. These books are so good. I love Melissa De La Cruz as an author. I think she's so good at writing, and I read most of her books when I was in high school. So this book series follows the protagonist Skylar, and it deals with the idea of like the world of angels and their kind of descent into being vampires. And the book series I feel is very thought out. It comes with different point of views, which again can be very interesting, because if you get bored in one storyline, you can jump to another one very easily, which I do enjoy. But I love the main character. Skylar is one of my favorite main characters, and she's one of those that I don't feel like I want to shake all the time and just get really annoyed with. But this series has a lot of books included in it, so it gives you a lot of opportunities to find books that you're going to fall in love with when you read them. So I would definitely recommend Blue Bloods. I still read them to this day. I go back and I read them. The next book books that I read in high school was the Sarah Dessen books. This movie came out and it was a mashup of two books. So it was a mashup of The Summer and Someone Like You. I love both of those books, but I read them like this out of this book. This one is Someone Like You, the second one is That Summer. They're both really good. I love this movie, and I've read every Sarah Dessen book that she's written. Sarah Dessen's a fantastic author. No matter what age you are, she comes out with a whole different slew of characters. They all come from very different backgrounds, which I really love. And I think Sarah Dessen's a great author for a young high school girl, because she knows how to encompass a lot of things, and a lot of her books have a lot of the same like prose and themes, but they're all very different. So I would recommend Sarah Dessen to any person that really enjoys reading young adult contemporary. She's a great author, and I love reading her books, but these books definitely got me through a lot of the hard times when I was in high school. The next book series that I want to introduce is I know I was in high school when I read these books because they scared me, but it's the Pretty Little Liars book series. If anyone's watched the TV show, you need to read the books. The books are, I feel, just as scary as the TV show. The TV show is not scary, but I mean, I was scared when I was reading. Pretty Little Liars follows the journey of friends Spencer, Hannah, Aria, and Emily, and it deals with the fact that a few summers ago their best friend Allison went missing, and now they are kind of being blackmailed / taunted by this this enemy named A, and they have no idea who it is. And these books, they're smart, they're very snarky when you read them, and they have different point of views as well. Obviously this adaptation is very different from the movies or from the TV show, but I love both of the adaptations differently and for different reasons. So if you haven't read the books and you've watched the TV show, you should definitely give the books a go. I think they're still entertaining to this day. I'd still read them. The next book series that I want to talk about, and the last book series I want to talk about, is the Mortal Instruments series, City of Bones in particular, because I love City of Bones. But Cassandra Clare is a great author, especially if you're in high school. She creates worlds that are very interesting to be a part of, and the worlds that you really want to read about. But it follows the protagonist, Clary Frey, and her journey of learning about a whole different world that she never expected existed. And her love interest is one of my favorite love interests, so I love reading these books. If you have seen the TV show, read the books. The books are so much better, in my personal opinion, than the TV show would have ever been. A lot of issues with that TV show, but these books were great to read when I was a kid. They were so much fun to get through, and they were my first real introduction into, like, not paranormal love, because obviously I read Twilight, but just that kind of like hate to love thing. And so these books are great. They're still great. I would reread them, but I don't want to lose that nostalgia, and I'm afraid that the curtain will be like ripped out of me if I try to read them again. I also love the Infernal Devices books. So those are the books that got me through high school personally. If there's any book that you want me to read, if there's any kind of content that you would be interested in watching on this channel, please comment down below. I'm just excited to see kind of what content that I can create, and I'm really excited to start talking more and more about books. But I hope you guys liked it. You guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. Bye.